Hello, everybody. Good evening. So we were just taking in a little bit of from Nyla's new album, Technique, was released on Friday on all platforms. So if you haven't listened to it yet, I'm making a really unapologetic plug for it because it's fantastic. And of course, you know, Nyla has a special place in my heart as I work closely with the team. But really some great songs. That one in particular, Calypso Baby, but there's Timeless with Cass, there's one with Voice and some huge collaborations. So we're going to talk more about it with Anson, who's here with us this evening, but just thought we would kick it off with that little taste to put us in the groove. So welcome everybody. Welcome to our guests this evening. We have Mr. Tristan Alleyne from JAMPRO, and then Anson Soverall from Trinidad and Tobago, well-known producer, artist manager, and marketing expert. I'm giving him a new title this evening.
I'll take it.
And yeah, so it's good to be back here in Trinidad. I've been traveling a lot. Last time I came on, I was in Nigeria. That was quite an adventure. So it's good to be right back here in Port of Spain and feeling, you know, the energy building up with, you know, the mother of all carnivals coming next year, that it really feels the whole place is vibrating. And I think even in the background, I'm hearing bass. I'm in St. Anne's and I'm hearing some bass, some fete going on somewhere in the neighborhood because I'm hearing the bass. So this evening, we want to get right in and talk about, you know, branding and marketing. Like we've been talking every month, we've chosen a topic. And this is, you know, an essential topic because in my mind, I always say, you know, we can produce and have it all on our shelf and, you know, nobody see or hear it. And what's the point, you know? So the branding and the marketing is really what's going to bring the eyes, what's going to open the marketplace, what's going to build the brand. And, you know, nobody in the Caribbean has done it as well as Jamaica. So that's why I really, you know, wanted Tristan on the call this evening because I wanted him to share some of these of the insights and how Jamaica goes about it, you know. And then, of course, I really admire the work that Anson has been doing with Nyla. You know, I joined the team back in 2017, and Nyla has just grown from strength to strength. And Anson will take us a little bit through that process and how he has managed that too as a producer, artist manager, and marketing expert. So I'm just letting everybody join. Well, let's get right in with Tristan. So let me introduce him to you. Good evening, Tristan. First of all, thank you for joining us.
Lorraine, thank you so much for this invite.
So Tristan Alleyne is the Senior Officer of the Jamaica Film Commission at JAMPRO. His responsibilities include the promotion and facilitation of business opportunities in the film, animation, and music industries with the goal of increasing investments, exports, and employment in Jamaica. Throughout his 4-year tenure in his role at the Film Commission, Tristan has partnered with organizations such as the World Bank, the IDB, the Jamaica Film and TV Association, and the Jamaican Animation Nation Network to plan and deliver local and international investor forums, business-to-business sessions, roundtables, screenings, and pitch competitions for Jamaican creative, and has participated in major international film festivals, including TIFF, Cannes, Berlin, and Kidscreen with Jamaican delegations of filmmakers and animators. He has a master's degree in economics and international relations from the University of the West Indies and has adopted a data-driven approach to identifying and addressing the challenges of development in the creative industries. Well, that really interests me because, of course, data-driven, we know how hard it is to get data in the Caribbean. So so Tristan, welcome, first of all, to the C15 show. And tell us a little bit about this tool. How do you work this with the data-driven? Where do you get the data from?
Yeah, I mean, the challenges with data, it's no different in Jamaica at all. We found that it's difficult when you're asking creatives to share information about what they're doing, where they're going, what they're producing. For one, the industries, both film and music and animation, they're not exactly formalized. A lot of creatives don't really work in the formal sector, let's say. They would rather not share that data with us. And I think there's a perception when the government asks you for data, if they want to track you, they want to know if you're paying taxes, really and truly, and not everybody wants to answer those questions.
Right.
And also, persons don't necessarily understand why we want to collect.
Right.
The reason is that we're allowed on their behalf, we need to know what it is that they're doing so that we can say, hey, this is what the contribution of the creative economy is to the larger economy. And this is why creatives need more support. So collecting data is either a carrot or a stick situation. For us, the main way that we collect data is when we are providing an incentive. So music producers, all creators from a waiver custom when they're importing equipment, what we call a productive input.
Right.
And they can only benefit from this if they give us information about their companies, what they're doing, etc., etc. So in that case, they do give us the data about what it is that they're doing. And that's one of the main tools that we have. And then we have, when filmmakers are shooting in Jamaica as well, international filmmakers coming to Jamaica to shoot, the production companies need to register with us. Are you hearing me clearly?
Well, you're coming in and out a little bit.
All right, let me see if this helps. Yeah, so those filmmakers have to register with us in order to be protected. But that's our carrot. If you want to benefit from our incentives, if you don't want to pay more than you need to pay at customs, you need to give us the data about what you're doing. And then we've also had to be a little bit savvy about it. So we recently conducted an economic impact study, which, it's labor intensive getting data from creatives. But we implemented the survey, and what we found is that for the film, animation, and music industries contribute about as much as construction to the economy. That's coming from direct input and also from the multiplier effect. If you're putting on a stage show, you have to hire transport, you have to hire vendors. There are many, the money goes all over the economy. So those are some of the ways we've been able to collect data, but it's a struggle, and we know that we're not capturing the full impact of what it is that we're doing. But at least we do have some points of collection that have helped. Yeah.
But that's good. I like the idea of the incentive to get the data. So that obviously works for you, because I was very impressed by the number. So could you tell us a little bit about the number of films that have been produced in Jamaica in the last 3 years? Just tell us how many.
So we do about 100 film productions in Jamaica a year. And that is between music videos, it's commercials, it's photo shoots, it's large film productions, and it's local productions. So it's spread across all of those. Recently, we've been seeing, over the last 3 years, we've been seeing a number of major productions come down, including the Bond production, including Idris Elba's directorial debut, Yardi, Sprinter, and recently Get Millie Black, which is an HBO production from one of our most prominent writers, Marlon James, as well as an Oprah Hulu production that just finished. There are many. We're also doing a Bob Marley biopic, expected to be produced next year. So we're seeing a lot of high-profile productions recently. It's coming from leveraging Jamaica's cultural impact. There's a demand for Jamaican stories to basically get an authentic view of what is going on in Jamaica, and we've been able to benefit enormously from that. So yeah, we're in a good place right now.
So, well, that's really exciting to hear, because I mean, we want the Caribbean to follow suit. I'm going to bring in Anson a little bit here to join us on the conversation, making it a little more fluid. So let me just introduce Anson Soverall is a Trinidadian music producer, songwriter, and cultural ambassador. And his multi-genre production and songwriting abilities have paved the way for his many successes. He's known as the man behind the soca hits in his home country of Trinidad and Tobago. He's also the manager of Nyla Blackmon and his newest artist, Sammy Joe. His belief is that once you give the chance and the right tools, this younger generation is sure to stun the world with its own distinctive sound. He has contributed to the music career, many music careers in Trinidad and Tobago, with one of his success stories being that of Nyla Blackmon, in which he used a secret 3-year plan in making her a superstar, where she went on to being nominated for a BET Award, getting accepted into the Recording Academy, winning several local and regional awards, and consistently delivering hit songs. So I'm going to ask Anson one time, what's the secret 3-year plan? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, first of all, you're jumping the gun. you don't just go in KFC and ask the colonel for the recipe, right? So first and foremost, I mean, good evening, everyone. Just to give you a real brief background, because I feel like my background has a lot to do with some of the success I've been having. I'm a graduate from University of Trinidad and Tobago, did my engineering, did a bachelor's in electrical electronics, focused on being a technician for the, I would say, majority of my career. I worked in all the utilities, WASA, TNTech, Power Gen. I worked and I ended at Schlumberger for about 4 years as an oil and gas company. And I believe is my time in Schlumberger and the things that I learned there is what I just applied to the music business, you know. And I feel like if you want secrets, that's kind of the secret there, you know. The secret was, I mean, in the oil and gas field, you have to pay attention to detail, you know, very meticulous. You make the wrong move on an offshore rig, you kill everybody on the rig, you know, or you cost the company millions of dollars by the hour. Nobody wants that on their head. So I feel like that meticulousness is what I just took and formulated like a version of it and applied it to the music business. I've been a producer for, say, most of my life. I've been a producer for 10 years, for the past 10 years. So I think I'm producing for like 20 plus years now. It was more of a hobby and it was more for fun. And I feel like that is also one of the secrets to success. It's just have fun. It should be something that you enjoy doing. It shouldn't feel like work. It shouldn't feel like a task. You shouldn't have a get-rich-quick plan, because I'll be real with you, in the music business, very few people actually make it. And I feel like when you come to terms with that very early on and you understand that this is just something I'm doing for fun and to get better at something, success usually follows those people. And it usually runs from the ones who think that is, okay, I put out a song and I make it big and I'm rich. Nah, it runs from those people now. So if your main goal is to just do it and have fun and be good at it, then success will sure follow. So you want the 3-year secret plan. It's not really a secret anymore. I feel like I've been
you've shared it a few times in interviews and so on. But I think for the topic that we're on, it's a really good intro and presentation.
Yeah. So I feel like it should start with a product that you believe in. So if you have a product that you believe wholeheartedly could be something that works for not just yourself, because a lot of us live in delusional places where, you know, yeah, you might be, I'll use, most of my examples will be based on music, you know, but it could apply to dance, it could apply to art, it could apply to all the different forms of industry creatives. It could apply. So you might be in a studio session, you create something, and you alone think that this is the most amazing thing. We all been there. I feel like I've been there. You're listening to the radio and you're saying, "Oh, my thing better than that." That's trippiness. And you live in this world of delusion. But one of these secrets is you have to have like a proper team of people who will be honest and real with you around there. You know, it don't have to be anybody with qualifications. It could be your mother, it could be your brother, your cousin, it could be a close friend who's, you know, people who's keep it real with you. And they would be able to give you feedback, and you know, genuine feedback from just hype, you know. So I feel like that's important. You need to have a product that you believe in, and you have to have
a testing
people,
ground, like a testing ground. Yeah.
You have to test that product, because chances are if you like it and majority of your circle likes it, then it means that the world could like it. You know, it's like that's the first phase. If you can't impress your circle, how are you going to impress the world? And that's kind of my foundation. You know, I'm not gonna try to fool myself, in other words. So and that kind of segues into the next, I guess, secret, which is you need a good team of people around you. That's important. Like, nobody, if there's anybody out there who tell you they were successful on their own strength or their own valor, I would say that person is not being 100% truthful with themselves. You know, I feel like the higher you go in the ladder of success is like the more people that you need or that you encounter along the way that help you there. And it don't have to be physical help. It don't have to be like financial. It could just be advice or conversation, or it could be somebody who, like I say, you play a song for and they're just like, I'm not feeling it. I feel like you should go this direction. That's somebody who makes up an essential part of your team, whether you know it or not. They don't have to be directly involved, but it could be a person that you go to every time. And eventually, when you do this over and over and over, you find naturally you just gravitate to a core group of people who, okay, if I'm going to send it to my granny always real with me. Then when I finish by granny, I'm going to send it to my neighbor over the road. And so it starts to build that network. And remember this, because this is something that we'll come back to, which is important for being successful. So I would say after having a product you believe in, having an effective team, a lot of people skip this step, but this here will save you a lot of fallouts and a lot of broken relationships in the future, which is, how do I compensate this team? As a step, listen, when you now start, you're excited, you just want to get done, you just want to put your stuff out there and see what happens. But a lot of us forget this team of people that help us create this product by just giving advice or just by being real with me. And we tend to not factor in a compensation for this team, and that always leads to a problem when success comes. And obviously you're doing this to become successful. So if you leave out this step, which I'm telling you here right now, you're going to end up having a lot of fallouts, a lot of broken relationships, and in a lot of cases, a crumbling of this core team that probably help you or helping you get to that place where you could achieve the most. So obviously in the earliest part of any artist's career, there's no money. You know, most of us not born into it, or most of us don't have like you might have people that just not really seeing your vision and they may not be as supportive. So how do you finance this team? How do you compensate this team? Simple ways, by you could barter. Bartering is an age-old way of getting stuff done. I mean, back in the caveman days, they did it. Why can't we? You barter. I might be good at producing. You might be good at doing photography, or you might be good at doing videos. We come together as a team and we build. And you give me a song, and I give you proper photos. I give you, exchange talent, exchange your services.
The barter services is always a great way. And I know many artists, would say, well, I can do a show in exchange of, X amount of whatever you need. So one thing is having that talent, you have something to barter with, so that is good. So Anson, I want to bring in just to keep it fluid. So we'll come back if there are any more tips you want to give us on the 3S plan. But I'm going to toss over to Tristan, because I want to talk a little bit about brand Jamaica. I mean, even when we travel, Trinis, even when we say we're from Trinidad, I mean, I don't know if it still happens in the world, but people used to say, oh, Trinidad and Jamaica. So obviously you all have done a really great job at brand Jamaica. So tell me a little bit about that, and what was the strategy behind that, if you know. I mean, I know it started before your tenure, but if you have any insight to share.
Yeah, sure. But first, I just wanted to jump on what Anson was saying earlier about the team. It's very important to have a core team. And what we find here is that, you have one creative that's doing everything. You have a filmmaker that's a director, he's the writer, he's the producer, he's doing sound, he's editing, and he's trying to promote, and he's trying to distribute. And they're doing, he or she, they're doing financing as well. And it's a challenge that you have, because financing is limited when you're just starting out. So you're trying to do everything, that you can. But there are ways to expand the team when you're starting. You can join an association, you can reach out to your promotion agency like JAMPRO, plugging us here. And you can kind of find out what are the different resources that you can tap into early in your career, because even though you're small, there are resources, small or large, there are resources out there for you. And we find that the successful artists, the successful creators are the ones that are tapping into these resources. They're the ones that have someone on their team that knows, all right, we're producing a film, we have to think about distribution. Where we're going to distribute it? Who do we have in X territory and Y territory that we can talk to? That even if we don't have money right now, that when this is produced, at least we can call them and say, hey, this is coming down the line, keep a lookout for it. Can you promote it for me on my behalf? For us, outside of JAMPRO, there's also the Ministry of Culture that has sponsorship funds for travel, which again, the established artists are the ones that tend to benefit from it, because they tend to have someone in their team that's connected and knows to ask, not even necessarily has a link to get, to get that support, but they just know that you can ask for support. And then from JAMPRO, we have development programs. So we have a film lab program for people that are developing feature films, a program for short films. We have a program for music producers. So there are a lot of resources available, and it's important to understand that in developing the team, there may be these gaps that you can't see yet, but you need to start trying to fill those gaps as soon as possible. Because, as you said, Anson, you're going to feel it in the future if you don't. One way to get around the compensation issue is to record all your spending. Who is spending? because the people on your team have to spend money. You may not be covering their travel. They have to spend money for travel. So they have to spend money for food. So they start recording that expenditure early. And then when you start getting money, you really do have a breakdown of what people contributed to get you to where you are. So I thought that point was very important.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
Definitely.
So for us, I mean, I'll speak from the film perspective in terms of, you know, what we've been doing for branding. And Jamaica has a long history in the film industry, coming from, you know, the first Bond movie, Dr. No, which was shot here, to the last one. You know, in terms of stuff we've produced, The Harder They Come, and then to Sprinter most recently. So we have a long film history. And, you know, we've been able to develop our branding in the film industry by, number one, is the kind of the Jamaican culture. So I mean, I'm going to talk a lot about what JAMPRO has done and what our different government institutions have done to leverage that culture. But really and truly, that's what it is. It's the food, the people, the geography, all of that has come together.
The vibe. We have
The
to
vibe,
say
exactly. We can sum it up as
that
the vibe.
Jamaican vibe, that
Right.
Jamaican.
So that's what we're working with. So you know, it's a good place to start to have that Jamaican vibe. But also what we've done is we've built out a film infrastructure. So at the Film Commission, you know, as I said, we have a number of developmental programs. We also promote at all the major film festivals, which you mentioned earlier. If you're a filmmaker and you're creating movies, you're going to have representation at the major festivals. And I find that when we do attend, it's not nearly enough diversity there. Certainly not enough you know, Caribbean representation at those festivals, but you're not really in the conversation if you're not out there. So that has been a critical component to us. And we also have been lobbying for incentives. So yes, it is the case that we don't have rebates or film incentives, which we're still kind of working on. But the incentives we do have, you know, there's been a significant push for the industry to understand what's available, to put them in a position to be able to create films. And then we have a great relationship with the association. So the Jamaica Film and TV Association and the Jamaica Animation Nation Network. We work very closely with them. We seek out donor funding, and then we implement it in partnership with those associations, work hard to ensure that those associations have a real representation of formal and informal persons in the industry. And you know, we try and position our creatives to be able to benefit from what's available. Our ideology around the role of the Film Commission and the government is that, at least within JAMPRO and our department at the Film Animation and Music Department, is that the benefits that our creatives should be able to receive should almost be automatic. The Film Commission should be invisible. You are a creative, you want to attend this film festival, you should be able to get financing to go and attend that film festival because you're promoting a project. We're not there yet, but because that is the goal, we've been able to position ourselves in that way.
Right.
And then
let's just, sorry to cut you, Tristan, but let's just take it back a minute, because, you know, of course, Jamaica did well, is it Jamaica? But I mean, reggae did a fantastic job of placing Jamaica on the world map, of course. You know, like you can go, you know, in any country in the world and you play a Bob Marley song or whatever, everybody knows where he's from. So do you think that was just by flux that Jamaica benefited from that, or do you think that was a strategy and, you know, was used by from earlier clock by, you know, Jamaica tourism to help promote Jamaica?
I think it's both. I think it's both. You know, we have a country with immense talent, and then we also have the infrastructure to be able to support that talent. So what you want to have is an enabling environment. That is what we've tried to create. So
I like that expression,
right.
Enabling environment, very, very important.
Yeah, and it's been a priority for us, and it still is. So, you know, if you have talent, you should be able to go to a studio, and you should be able to not only create a record, but have access to be able to promote it and distribute it. And I'm going to keep saying promotion and distribution because, you know, as an artist, your main goal is always going to be your craft to create. Yeah. Everything else is sort of going to be an afterthought, and that is just a function of the job. It's hard enough to create. So what we have tried to do is kind of engender this idea that you don't have to do everything. You need a team. So right now, you know, the government tries to plug the holes where you may not have that team. But the idea being that eventually we get to the place where if a creative understands that in order to get to where they need to be able to have this team around them.
I'm going to bring Anson in a moment, back in, but just before I leave this thing of brand Jamaica reggae, I just want to again say Jamaica again at the pulse, because the whole branding of of cannabis, I mean, it was a huge, you know, smoking marijuana was always linked with reggae and so on, but Jamaica has now taken it to that other level where now they're making it, you know, medical marijuana, doing the research, having the fields and so on. So again, right. You know, really, is that at all under JAMPRO, or is that like, tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so JAMPRO was instrumental in setting up the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Mm-hmm. We're one of the first countries to develop a regulatory authority for cannabis, and that was about 7 years ago. And the idea being, yes, we do have this association with cannabis. How can we, and we're seeing where it's becoming more liberalized, how can we start to monetize it, which is a long process. But the focus was on, you know, the processors, the retailers, and the farmers, and how can we put them in a position to be able to create and sell. And so JAMPRO, you know, the Cannabis Licensing Authority started at JAMPRO, and now it's outside of JAMPRO, but it's still a priority sector for us. So what we've done now in you know, working together with our parent ministry, Industry and Commerce, is that we've developed a branding task force to understand how can we develop a national strategy to support cannabis. Right now, a lot of that branding is coming from the companies that have been established through the authority. So they are basically leading on that, which is great. Again, you know, best case scenario is development is private sector led. We just create the fertile ground for them to grow. But we also recognize that that kind of national brand is important to give companies a platform. Yeah. So that is what we're doing right now with the task force, and it's coming from about 7 years of work to not only to support directly the processors, the farmers, the retailers, but also to work with the banks to, you know, get a sense of what would be necessary, what would a cannabis you know, company to provide to be able to get a loan from you to be able to grow. And then with that understanding, how can we input that into the requirements for the authority. So it was really a holistic approach coming from the demand that we know was there for cannabis from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that, kudos to you all. We definitely have some lessons to learn there. And thank you for sharing that. Anson, I want you to give, we have quite a lot of people listening on the live and here, an artist. What would you recommend the best way to market, and as a Caribbean artist, market and promote yourself? What would you tell them to do first?
So I wish there was one thing I could say. It's not like a magic one that you could just do one thing. I was now listening to Tristan. Tristan, I guess what Jamaica has is they have an industry for starters. They have an established industry that was built upon, I guess, the success of reggae, and it just kind of filtered all the way down to all sectors. They have an industry. I'm gonna speak to the people on this live who aren't necessarily in Jamaica, who don't have that support. Because I'll be real with you here. It stems from, we don't have much governmental support. I mean, shouts to Music TT, they try, I know they're trying, but they just don't have the funding, and the things that I have personally done to make our artists successful, the kind of budgets that we've spent, I know for a fact that we spend, no disrespect, but we spend more than Music TT's entire budget for the year on one artist. You know what I mean? And we didn't just wake up one morning and get to that level. Now that was blood, sweat, and tears and building. And I guess that's what the question you're asking is, what is this one thing? This one thing is many things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It boiled back down to, as I was saying before, the team. And that team is very important, but most of us here don't have the money to pay a team. So, you barter, you give away percentages, you do splits, you share in profits, you become a jack of all trades. Being real, like, this is just a real conversation. That I wear so many hats that I didn't necessarily want to, but based on finance, I had no choice but to. But I'm glad I did, because it just helped me better myself and understand the business in more depth. I manage, I produce, I direct, I shoot videos, I edit videos, I do finance,
social media,
social media. I mean, the list goes on. Now I'm a negotiator because I've been in so many meetings, with high-level meetings with major labels. And there's a process that, like, there's nobody who really taught me these things. Trinidad suffers from a case of, like, there's no blueprint for it. There's nobody who we could just look at and say, okay, that's what they did. I feel like right now, other than the people before me, like, I guess Simon Batiste and I guess Jean-Michel, Christian Cabaza, who passed away, Lorraine, yourself, there's people who were doing it in the past, but then there's now a serious gap between this generation and that. So it's lost now. And I feel like right now, there's a couple others who doing it in this time, and like Casey Phillips from Precision. But more from an artist development side, I think I'm the only one that I know of. I mean, there's others, don't get me wrong, but I don't know too many of them who doing it at this level, So I find myself going out there and learning the hard way, going into Republic Records, Universal Records, Interscope, Def Jam, name it. We have meetings, it's currently going on, and I have to learn the lingo, I have to learn how to maneuver it. I'm like a baby all over again in the international markets, like I was able to do it in Trinidad and the Caribbean, but it's a whole different ball game out there. And, nobody that's not an overnight success or one thing I could say now. It's built on, okay, everybody listening. So let me start giving some of these nuggets, right? you should always feel like you're busy, right? The minute you're not feeling busy, then you're not working hard enough. If this is something that you love and you want to do and you want to be
That's a good one,
successful,
Anson. Very good one.
you should always feel like you're busy. Nothing comes easy. So I am always busy. The minute I feel like I am not busy, I start to feel like, okay, something happening without me out there, and that's a problem. I need to figure out how to be involved in that. And that's something I taught to my artists. So like Nyla, in the earlys, it was too much. She was like, yo, what the hell? You're too much, bro. Like, come on, there's my rest day, relax, And I'm like, yo,
No
time is of the
resting.
essence.
Yeah.
There's no resting in this phase of your career now. Because unfortunately, females have it even harder. They have a short shelf life. So as a female artist, and that's why I manage 2 female artists, you have to push them faster up this ladder because male artists just have a longer shelf life. So I have to I put her in such a regiment of being busy all the time that now if Nyla were to have another manager and they don't come with something every day, she's going to feel restless and feel like they're not working, and that's not enough for her. And that's just a mentality that I took from the oil and gas business because I'm always busy. They never let you rest. You feel like you always had to be progressing. And if there's nothing happening, then self-development should be happening. You should be doing something to invest in you. So during the lockdown, nothing was happening, but I was busy every day. I was busy learning to edit and direct and film and color correct. Why am I doing this? Because it costs money to do these things, and sometimes directors out there are a little bit unreasonable and they're not for the team. So you as an artist have to figure it out. You have to get it, right? So that's one tidbit. Another one is never take anything personal. That's something that I wish somebody told me when I was coming up in this game. You can't take it personal. Not everybody gonna like your music. Not everybody gonna support you. Not everybody going to be as enthusiastic about what your product is, and you can't take that personal. Because when you take that personal, you'll be surprised at how that could devastate somebody. That I've seen people taking things personal ruin their careers, like literally give up, just malfunction. I've seen it happen, and I learned not to take things personal because in your world, to you, you are the most important thing. But to somebody else, they have other things going on that just as important or even more. So you have to understand that if they don't reach back out to you or they don't respond to your message immediately, it's nothing personal. It's maybe more than likely 9 out of 10 times is because they're busy doing something else. And the people that I've had the most success with is when I just have a little patience and just hit them friendly reminders from time to time. I don't take it personal when I don't get on to anybody. I might call you 2-3 times, you're not responding, don't take it personal. They might be declining your calls. I've seen people decline and then I'm wondering, wait, boy, I wonder if they're not on me and it's because, oh bro, sorry, I was on a plane. And when you're calling somebody on WhatsApp on the plane, it just declines. You might, if you were to take that personal, you would go and bad talk them or ruin a whole relationship off of something that you just didn't understand. They were on a plane and it declines the calls. That's just how it is. So like so many relationships you could have developed or what you may have ruined or burnt a bridge to just because you took something personal, assuming the worst in the person. That's our next tidbit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always assume, don't assume the worst. You know what I mean? Like they must leave room for mishaps that happen or the occasional emergencies that happen. Life is life. It's a real world you're living in and not everything revolves around you. And the sooner you get to that place where you understand that, you will be so successful. So a lot of my relationships are built off of just having patience, and some of them took years to build. And I see you coming in, Lorraine. Let me just
Yeah.
now I'm in a position where I could pick up the phone and call. I wouldn't name drop on this, but I could pick up the phone and call the head of Tidal, the head of Audio Mac, Spotify, TikTok, YouTube. These are things that came over years of being turned down or years of not people declining my calls because they're on a flight, years of the out of sight, out of mind because we live in Trinidad. Years, but I didn't take it personal. I didn't burn the bridge. And then I stuck to them so much that, another nugget, you need to make yourself valuable to somebody. See, when you're valuable to them, that's when you maximize and get the most out of that relationship. I just made myself valuable to all of these people because they didn't have a Caribbean connect, or they were out of touch with the relationships in Trinidad and in the islands. And I was so easy to talk to. I didn't take it personal that I became the man on the ground for them. So, I need a favor. Or, hey, I'm coming to Trinidad next week. What are you doing? I would drive you around. I would be a driver, carrier for food. And another nugget, don't ask for anything. Just wait. The time will come for that. Don't ask, by the way, you could do this, you could help me with this. Nah, they don't want to hear that. We now building this relationship. We're not at that level yet. Let's see where it goes, you know? So my secret is I doing the most for you. You want to come Trinidad, I'll drive you. You want doubles, I'll carry for doubles. Hey, I'm in town, let's go for lunch. Let's just do fun things. The relationship builds. And then eventually, before you know it, you're having conversations about business and you don't even know when you transition from driving them around to talking about money, you know? That's just how it is.
I'm gonna jump in because well, one, thank you because you've given us some really great tips there, but time is running out and I do want to open up for a few questions.
No
So do we have anybody comments, questions you all would like to ask Tristan or Anson? Funny chat is quiet this evening, and as you all have been talking a lot. And but I and all made some notes because I think it's some important points, and one of them that Anson mentioned a bit, and I think it's so important, is like you never know how somebody could benefit you at some time, so don't burn your bridges. Just the other day this example came back to me where I was asked about, recommending somebody for a position, and well, no, they were asking me about somebody for a position, and I was like, sure, I mean, I knew the person from 10 years ago, and so it's just you never know when these things will come back. Crystal, and do you want to how are we doing this, Maria?
Lorraine, if they don't have questions, because I know a couple of people came in here and I know they really want to learn how to be successful, and I want them to feel like they got something out of it. So I just going to, as quickly as I could, just go through, because I thought I had a little bit more time, but I'll just go through real quick because I know, they're messaging me. They want to know. So apart from these things, like on a more practical level, visuals, quality, right? It's all about your visuals. It's all about being in an age where nothing is no longer like, it's no longer how it used to be with records and CDs and you can just put out an audio. Visual age is social media, TikTok, Instagram Reels. Instagram changed the whole algorithm. Pictures are now almost pointless. I watched Nyla drop from getting 60,000 likes and high engagement to now you're lucky if you're getting 10. So it's all about visuals now. So you have to put a lot of energy and focus into the visual aspect, how you're packaging things, how you make it look. If you can make it look and feel like something that everybody wants, then you have a better chance of selling it to them, right? Targets. I always say aim for the stars. If you don't reach the stars, you'll hit the moon, So like sky's the limit. Don't limit yourself to a box and feel like, okay, well, I just want to be the best painter or in Trinidad or the best artist in Trinidad. No, try to be the best artist globally. If you aim at those levels, I promise you, it's going to force you to stretch to the limits of your creativity, your lyrical content, your visuals, everything. You're going to be forcing yourself to compete against the Rihannas and the Drakes, right? There's no way you could fail, because if you aim in that high, your quality might be garbage to them, but you might surpass everybody on the island. And then guess what? You become it's like ponds now, you know, big fish, small pond kind of situation. So part of my 3-year plan for Nyla was become a household name in Trinidad. Year 1, we did that. Year 2, Caribbean household name. Now we in phase 3, but COVID did mess it up and throw us back a year. But we're now ready to now aim for the stars. And if we land on the moon, it's a success. Real quick. Publicity is all about, like, you're just living in an age where it's all about how do you get as much people as possible to talk about you, to see your product. And the more people that talk about it and see it, is a higher percentile that's going to convert to supporting, purchasing, streaming, buying into what you're selling. So you do as much, you focus on putting together a team. You have a publicist, you have a marketing person, you must have somebody following you around to capture visuals, capture photos. I'm trying to do it as quick, Lorraine. I speed in, I know.
No, but I mean, I just want, you don't need to, I mean, you've already given us so much information that don't feel like, I mean, we can have a part 2, but we did have Daniel George asking us, how do you think a panelist should market themselves? So,
okay. You're breaking up.
You can continue on, Tom, while we got Lorraine. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, she's gone. So I think the question was, how does a panelist market themselves? The same way an artist does. There's no difference. It's like they have the same tools. It's not like an artist has extra tools that a panelist doesn't have. Social media, you do videos. It's all about going viral now. So look for all the trending things within your genre, whatever is trending. And then as a panelist, I would just find a very cool, creative way to flip it and just include the pan. Take, for example, whatever the top trending songs are, learn it on pan, and then film it with a phone and put it on social media. And chances are you will gain some followers and some success. Apply it across the board. Pan painting. I have a girl I know, she's an amazing painter. She just takes the trending audio and puts her painting and then speeds it up and put it on social media. She have over 100,000 followers on TikTok. So, like, you just have to follow the trends and utilize the same tools that everybody else uses.
great. We're almost at 7 p.m. So we're going to have to wrap it up. Elizabeth, thank you for sharing. She said, good evening, everyone. Great input. I love the nuggets he shared. It's so valuable for entrepreneurs, especially in this present economic climate. So, you know, a lot of great takeaways. Let me give Tristan a word to close off. What would be your best advice to give to Caribbean creatives to get out there and market and brand themselves?
Yeah, so Anson stole most of my points. So next time I'll have a list. I appreciate that. We just need to get the info out there. But what I would add is protect what you create. At the start of the creation process. I mean, I know you might be going off vibes with you and whoever's in the studio. Have a conversation with that person. What is the split going to be for compensation? You know, if you have, if your goal is to reach the moon, have a conversation about when you reach the moon, what slice am I going to get? What slice are you going to get? And if you feel awkward about that, or you feel like it maybe affects your creative process, you need to have someone on your team that's willing to have that conversation. To be like, you know, this is the bulldog on my team. This is a brick wall that is not going to respond unless they hear certain things, and they would say, all right, well, you can't really work with this person because low-key they're trying to take advantage of you, you know. You have to be very concrete in your plans and understand that that's, you know, that's just a feature of the business.
Right.
So I would say protect what you create. In Jamaica, and I think the same is for Trinidad, we're a signatory to the Madrid Protocol, which means that you can globally protect your trademark. You know, I'm not sure if it's the case in Trinidad, but call up your intellectual property office and ask them. And if you don't want to do it, have someone else do it, because I know how it is. I don't think, not everybody can be an Anson and not everybody has to. So, you know, you can wear one hat and be a creative as long as you have other people on your team that are doing everything else. But the fact is, you can't ignore that part of the business. It's the, you know, it's a business first and foremost. So thank you so much for your time, Lorraine. I learned a lot listening to you as well.
It was very, very informative. All our guests are saying very informative. Happy that I attended. Great nuggets from Anson. So good job. We will, of course, be editing this and posting it on our YouTube channel. So you can go back and check it out, or those who weren't able to tune in this evening. Before I wrap up, I do see Crystalline saying that I've been told that my voice and personality doesn't suit the local and I should focus on the international market. Well, Anson said, I know why she's saying that, because you said, you know, be a household name in your...
I've heard this so many times in my career where people telling me, I am not for Trinidad, I am for international. I promise you, internationally, they are going to look at your numbers at home. If you cannot conquer home, you didn't no interest. I promise you this. Like, I'm doing this so much years, and I met so many artists who say, nah, I focusing on outside. What is outside? I've been outside. Outside is focusing on home. Like, that's, so you have to, is it Crystalline? You have to figure out a way to engage your home support. And I kind of disagree with you in that, trust me, there's niche markets here. There's so many people, there's so much flavors and talents and fans for that. And it don't have to be big. You don't have to be a big soca artist or a Trinidad artist or dancehall or reggae. You could start in a little jazz lounge and build your following there. You know, my little tidbit to leave it all here is learn to crawl before you could run, because internationally, well, or at least releasing a product, you have, like, the last thing you want to do is put something out there that's going to negatively impact you for the rest of your life. When I say crawl, I mean go inward, develop your craft to a level and a point where when you release it, people go and be like, wow, you are amazing. Don't jump the gun. Don't put it out before it's time. It took me 15 years before I released my first production, you know, and the second artist I worked with after having my first hit was Marshall, for example. You know what I mean? And that's probably 2,000 songs into producing to learn my craft to become better. Don't jump the gun. Develop a fan base, and home is everything. You can't ignore home. They're going to look at your home numbers.
Yeah, Jalisa said, dance a yard before you dance abroad.
Facts. Yep.
So on that note, which I love, thank you, Jalisa, for that. Let us wrap up this evening's session. Really incredible information shared. Everybody seems to have appreciated and taken a lot from it. So thank you. Thanks, Anson, for the time. Tristan, for the time. I know how busy you all are. Remember, Nyla Technique. Go and stream, download, listen.
I love it.
because shameless,
Yeah.
because it's a boss album. She's been working, well, both Anson and her have been working so hard at this, you know, that I can't not say it. And actually, let's close off with a little Calypso Baby.
Hey.
Lorraine is a DJ, and I really enjoy it.
I love it. We're
Good
not
night,
here, Lord.
everybody. Oh wait, let me put it up louder.
Baby, when I go by